No, no, no. Yeah, thank you. So I'll restate the question, Ben. And Annalee, is the
Mhm.
stop work order issued so that they can reevaluate or investigate if the proper process was followed? Or have they acknowledged, the city, have they acknowledged that the proper process was not followed and they've issued the stop order so that the proper process can be followed?
Yeah, so I'll read to you what they sent me. This was from the city planning department, Jessica, and I'm not sure how to say her last name, Numanaglu. I'm not sure. Anyway, she says, I've personally reviewed the plans submitted by Verizon and consulted with both city staff and you have contacted about this project and our city's attorney's office. Based on this review, I have determined that the proposed facility does not qualify for a streamlined review under Section 6409A of the Middle Class Tax Relief and Job Creation Act of 2012. This is because the light pole Verizon proposes to use does not meet the definition of either a base station or a tower under the act because there is not an existing wireless facility on the pole.
Wow, so it sounds like
So
she's
that was the reason why.
acknowledging, it sounds like she's acknowledging that the proper process was not followed. Is
Hmm.
that how you read that?
Yeah.
Can you this
Yes.
sometime can you um, scan that and send it to us?
Sure.
Okay. Meg,
Yeah, one of the other things that's out there. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Depending on how you define these, they call it a co-location because they didn't erect the pole just for this purpose. But if they are considered a cell tower, the first one that's there that's operational now is 120 feet away from the new one, and they're supposed to be 750 or like 1,200 feet apart. So the one of the other concerns that we have is once they get approval to put one on, they don't have to go through any other processes to put more cell equipment on the same pole. They could just go do it. So the thing, potentially looks like a Christmas tree, um, with additional stuff on it. The other like piece to note is that this one that they have half put up is, in direct line side of our house, and that's where the school board says that poses a health hazard if you were, close to it at eye level, and that's 130 feet from a bedroom window and 50 feet off the ground. So it's the lowest one in the city. It's a really unique situation, impacting historic property, the proximity and height. So it's obviously of great concern to us, and more so the community. We also have, the retirement center right next door to us. It impacts them as well.
Yeah. Have you talked to them, to the Stafford?
We have not.
Not yet. No, we're
Okay.
early in we're trying to take the avenue of let's make sure that that they follow the right processes, in conjunction. Like that's the easiest way to halt this thing or reverse it is that, hey, you can't put it up and here's the reasons that you missed. And
Right.
then, from there, it's the public support component, to
Right.
raise awareness for as well.
Exactly. Jessica Namangalu, who you received that letter from, is the head of
Mhm.
planning. So she's the right person. Meg, do you want to give us an update from what you've learned?
So I haven't heard, so I've reached out to the city, mostly code compliance because they'd be the ones that would go out and
Mhm.
look at things and say, hey, this is right, this is wrong. And I haven't heard from them yet. I had a conversation with Tony Vanderberg from the school district, and he had not heard of the stop work order. So
Oh,
I don't know who the school district that was, because Tony would be kind of the person that
yeah.
he's the director of project management. And so I was
Uh-huh.
surprised that he didn't know about the stop work order. His concern was that the school board had signed off on the lease. I think you referred to that in your email earlier,
Mhm.
back in 2023. And once the lease has been signed and they have the co-location approved by the city, and he was under the impression that it was a ministerial decision. It either met the criteria, didn't meet the criteria. And so they had the approval on that, and therefore they could go ahead and install the cell array. But it sounds like you're getting a different information from the city.
which is
Yeah.
which takes precedence.
Correct. And that's kind of where we want to get code compliance in, because they'll say, hey, this is, and they're pretty good at looking at the what's happened and applying the correct procedures.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if you've reached out to him, Bill Youngblood, is that? Yeah,
Yep.
Bill.
Yeah, he actually, so Bill Youngblood, when I requested the stop work order for those reasons, he did email me back and say, nope, it looks like it's all good. But then I heard back from Jessica shortly, I think after, saying that what she agreed that what she saw was that because it had been decommissioned. So I did also talk to Tony in the beginning. That was who the city referred me to.
Correct.
And he said that he actually had no clue that there was even anything happening. And he said he drove by. And so I like took a picture and circled it on the picture to show him and was like, no, there's construction going on here. He has been CC'd on some of those emails, but it's kind of I've been more in contact with Stuart Ketzler now
Yeah.
and Dr. Sheely from the school district. But so they did, and I sent an email earlier today, and I didn't have a chance to read it yet, but so they did have a school board meeting where they approved a co-location in July of 2023. And then that did not come to fruition, I guess, because there was issues. And I asked what those issues were, and I haven't been told. So this construction is triggered from a decision that they made November 14th, 2024. Excuse me, I can't find any public information regarding that. I've asked them to send me what they sent Verizon and Crown Castle, like a public records request. I haven't received that, even though they said they sent it to me. And let's see. I also asked them to rescind that decision. Because they said it was a modification. And I clarified with them that this wasn't a modification. This was actually a decommissioned tower. So it's a new tower. So I asked them it kind of seemed like the board maybe had made that decision not being fully aware that it had been decommissioned. So I wanted them to reevaluate that.
I think the ultimate focus should be on the city. The
Okay.
school district is just the applicant. I think the focus should be with the city. And I think the fact that Jessica's involved is good. What I would suggest we do as the next step is maybe Meg, let's get a copy of that stop order letter that you have, Annalee, from Jessica.
Mhm.
Let's look at that. Maybe what we need to do is sit down with Jessica face to face and ask her, would you walk through the process that needs to be followed for this to be put in action, and then see what opportunities there are for public testimony or appeal in that process. And one of my questions is why the new antenna is lower than the previous one that was way up at the top of that tower. So anyway, we can go over some of those issues. In general, strategically, I want to say what we're doing here is exactly the right way that these problems should be addressed. We start with the staff. We work with the staff. If we don't get satisfaction from the staff, then we can go to the city manager. And then the next step after the city manager is the council. So I think we're doing this right. Eventually, if it takes going to the council, then that's what we do. But we need to understand the process first. Otherwise, we're just talking about feelings and emotions, which don't get anywhere in terms of results with the city, unfortunately.
And I think the other issue is that we have a lot of different definitions flying around. Is it a cell tower? Is it a light tower? Is it a co-location? Is this a major? Is this a minor development issue? So I think we have a lot of people applying different standards, and so therefore you're getting mixed messages.
Right. Well, Jessica is the ultimate arbiter of that too, I think.
Yeah.
So can I leave it that Meg, that Annalee, if you would send us a copy, you can email it to me and I'll make sure it gets to Meg. And then Meg, you can continue communicating with the Adams directly and let me, keep me in the loop. And if we need to have a meeting with Jessica, which sounds like we do, then you and I can go with the Adams and we'll meet with Jessica and walk through it. Does that
That'd
sound
be
like,
awesome.
does
Be
that
great.
sound like
Thanks for
a
you.
plan?
Yeah.
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us. You're welcome to stay on if you'd like, or you can.
One more question, Chris. What's the timing of that? Like when we talk about getting you that information and we meet with Jessica, is this like happens in a few weeks, a few months? Like what is the
No,
timing
no,
of
no,
that?
no. A few days. If you can get that letter to us today or tomorrow, let's look at it. Meg and I can chat, and then maybe we set a meeting. Try get a meeting next week with Jessica.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Okay.
she knows who we are. We talk with her and the other planners all the time.
Okay.
Okay, terrific.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Chris, before you go on,
Yeah.
you might, for simplicity's sake, have the meeting minutes approved again for two reasons. I don't think we had a quorum at the time, and
Here.
it wasn't recording.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So for the recording, we have a quorum, and just to confirm, Frederic moved to approve the meeting minutes from the April 10th general meeting and the May 8th board meeting, and Meg seconded it, and it was approved unanimously.
But
Thanks,
we need to vote again because we now have a quorum.
Right. We need to vote again?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor of approving those two meeting minutes? Raise your hand. Great. Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, chair report. Quickly, we have a lot of things on here. Lake Oswego boards and commissions update. Palisades scored big. We have Carrie, who can't join us right now, but she's our vice chair. She is on the budget committee, which is a big committee, very important. And Elisa and David were both selected for the Community Health and Resiliency Board, which is also a very, very important board. We had a couple of other folks try to get on committees, but they were unfortunately not selected. Nancy applied for Parks and Rec. Nancy, they said over 40 people applied for that committee. And I think they probably didn't pick you because they know you're already hooked up and talking to Ivan and everyone over there on a regular basis. So they figure we're already connected with Nancy with that. But at any rate, so I'm really proud of the Palisades and our representation at the city. And I'm really excited to see the board involvement there. I think this is great for Palisades, great for the board. South Shore Fire Station had a mayor's roundtable meeting there tonight. About 35, 36 folks showed up, and we talked about the new project that will be the new South Shore Fire Station, probably a bond in May of next year. City's hiring an architect right now and a project manager. They'll develop conceptual plans and put some more accurate pricing to those in anticipation of the bond next year. Give you an update. I have one of my goals for the year was to meet face to face with each of the councilors and the mayor. I've done that. I've met with each of them except for John Wendland. That's the last one coming up, and it's been a great help that they can put a face to the name of Palisades and to open that line of communication. I now have contacts there. I can reach out and call or email any one of them at any time for any issue. One commitment that I have made to them is that we will follow the process of working with staff first. That will always be the first choice. We don't want to go from DEFCON 0 to DEFCON 5 and involve the city manager, the mayor, and all the city council before we talk to staff. So we're going to go through the right process as we're doing now with the cell tower. Position 6 and 13 are still open. And one of my goals for this year is to fill those two positions. I want to have a full board. And so the next item of business, Carrie unfortunately can't join us, so there's no vice chair report. Actually, we'll get the treasurer's report and then we'll get to you, Bryce. So John, treasurer's report.
Okay, well, bear with me while I read my notes here. So our current balance in our Home Street bank account is $463.85. We have like $482.97 worth of pending reimbursements that I'll be submitting in the next couple weeks. We've submitted $383.57 so far this fiscal year. And then there's the reimbursements that are yet to be submitted. This does not include the additional yard signs that I expect Carrie will be purchasing this month. The basement camp fees do not are not included, but I saw a recent invoice for June in an earlier email. Has this been paid? And if so, could someone please provide me with a receipt so I can include it in the reimbursement request?
Yeah,
And
Frederick.
right now, it's just been an invoice, so I don't know if it's been paid.
Yeah, it has been paid and we should submit it. I think maybe Frederick has some paperwork she can send us for it. You're muted, Frederick.
Just, it's just the email that you forwarded to me because it gets sent to the chair email address. So that email that you were copied on, John, is the invoice for the month of June, but the rest of the year needs to be paid for. And Chris, you as a chair should do that.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
you should submit for the year.
Okay, yeah, because I've got a couple of base camp receipts that say that they've been paid, but this is just the invoice, so it's not
Okay.
the receipt. So that would be
We'll look at that and make sure you get the paperwork you need.
okay.
Can you send me that report? Then I can incorporate that in the minutes, please.
Yes.
And did you have more you wanted to add, or that's?
No. I mentioned this last month, so I'll just repeat it, that I've completed the paperwork that I received from Home Street Bank to add Chris as a signatory for our account. And so looks like P&A's finalized our meeting minutes for our April meeting, indicating Chris has been elected as the new P&A chair. So I'll be able to submit the paperwork to the bank. And so once they receive this paperwork, they'll send me a new set of documents that Chris and I will go ahead and sign.
Great.
And as usual, P&A residents are encouraged to donate to our neighborhood association. So for information about projected expenses and how to donate, refer to the Get Involved, I Want to Donate page on palisadesneighborhood.org. Thank you for your support.
One thing I wanted to add, John, is that the city has budgeted $1,000 per year per neighborhood association for these kinds of expenses: signs, meeting notifications, meeting refreshments, meeting supplies, that kind of thing. And historically, we haven't used all that money, and it's a use it or lose it system. It's not like the city's budget system that allows each department to keep unspent funds in a reserve. If we don't use it, we lose it. So I would encourage everybody to think, what other costs? And on the city website, it lists what they consider pre-approved reimbursable costs. But let's take advantage of those funds.
And once again, one of our meetings, there was like $350 worth of sandwiches that were purchased that I did not submit a reimbursement request for, because it was kind of like out of bounds. So be advised.
Out of bounds in terms of what
was
we
too
can
much?
be reimbursed for?
Well, it's not like snacks and drinks for the
Got
meeting.
it. Okay.
This is
I
like,
see.
taking everybody out to dinner kind of thing.
Was that,
Okay.
Was that for the general meeting? That must have been the general meeting.
Yeah, yeah, it was one of those general
So
meetings.
who paid for all those?
We ate it.
Out of our fund?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
did not know that. I would have submitted it.
yeah, I would, can we take a quick board vote, Johns, on that?
And that was a year or two ago, so it's
Oh, okay.
it's too late, but
It wasn't for this most recent general meeting?
no.
Oh,
No, it was the general meeting a year, it's too late.
I think in the future, we should submit those myself.
Okay.
Okay. So new motions. I am very excited to introduce Bryce Secord. Bryce is a friend of Kirsty Riley, who is a past board member and good friend to PNA. And Bryce is in Area 10, and he has submitted his application to join the board as the Area 10 rep. Bryce, you want to tell us for a couple of minutes a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so Bryce Secord moved to the neighborhood about 4 years ago. The kiddo was about ready to go to kindergarten, and it was time for us to get somewhere with good schools. And to tell you the truth, I was kind of on the fence about moving to Lake Oswego, and it's been amazing. It is not what I expected. The people have been wonderful. It's a great place to raise our daughter. Me and my partner, we've been together for going on 18 years. Um, I work at Portland General Electric. I was on the power line crews for about 15 years, and I've been at PG for 20 years now, and now I help do the designs and inspections for PGE. Also on the safety committee there. Um, and just really happy to be in the neighborhood. Kiddo loving soccer. We're playing at Hazalia all the time. Really happy about the new park. Thanks everybody for helping that get pushed through. We're sick and talked to Kirsty about this. She approached me a month or so ago, and I love being part of the neighborhood and kind of knowing what's going on and being able to help. So I'm happy to be given this opportunity and see what it's all about.
Great. Well, I move that we approve Bryce Secord as the new board member representative for Area 10. Do I have a second?
I second.
Nancy, second. All in favor, raise a hand. All right.
Do you think Bryce could help us with our power outages during winter?
I can give people the scoop on what's going on. I can
Okay.
I can definitely say that a lot of the longer outages we had with PGE for the Lake Oswego area was caused by trees that PG doesn't take care of. But
Okay.
yes, you can all get my contact info, and I may be able to give you some information.
Awesome.
Bryce, you can fill the
Side
void.
benefit.
You can fill the void left by
Yes.
Roger. He was our power guy before.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're really excited to have you on board, Bryce.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And I cautioned Bryce when I met with him not to feel like he needs to jump in too heavy at first. Kind of come to a few meetings, get the lay of the land, get to see the crowd and what we're doing, and where possible holes are, and then decide where he wants to get involved. So thanks, Bryce.
Yeah,
good to have
thank
you
you.
here.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, committee reports. David, emergency prep. Anything to report?
Well, thank you, Chris. I think from the emergency prep side of things, there's a couple things to report on. One is that with the recent newsletter, we do have a new post as well for the emergency prep section of the website. And this is part one of two with the local insurance agent who is providing some tips on home protection or home insurance related questions that individuals might have. So some questions that sometimes come up related to earthquake insurance, wildfire protection, home, and even just how to handle a loss related to your home. So we've got an interview, and we've posted part one of two-part. I think it's very valuable information. So I hope those of you on the Zoom tonight, as well as encourage others to take a look at that post. And then I also just wanted to touch base a little bit to update you about the Community Health and Resiliency Advisory Board, because part of that is related to social connectedness and working within the community, as well as emergency preparation. I know Elisa and I are really happy to be able to be part of that board. And we went through a interview process about 2 weeks ago, and where one of the city councilors, as well as other city members, I believe it was Linda Roundtree, who's the co-chair of that committee. And so after I think we're both very pleased to be selected to be part of that committee, where we can have some input in emergency preparedness, as well as just in how to help with community organizing and just connectedness and mental health and overall just doing help increase the connectedness of people in LA.
Great. Great. Frederick, you want to talk about National Night Out? You're muted again.
It's a perfect dovetail to follow David's report, because National Night Out, again, is the first Tuesday of every August every year. And it's August 5th this year. And what our area 3, and a few other groups in Palisades did last year is hold a National Night Out, and registered with the city and got the fire trucks and the police to come to show the kids and all that other good stuff. And we just had a potluck, and it was a great community gathering. And what I'm trying to do this year is encourage every area rep to either sponsor one in terms of, or identify somebody in your P&A area that that may want to head that effort. So a suggestion was made to send out an email blast to all the P&A subscribers saying, hey, if you're interested in hosting one, please contact your area rep, and we can provide yard signs. We can help you get an email blast to specifically to your P&A area, inviting people and reminding them of what you're doing. And so what I'd like to do is there anybody on the call today, any area reps who would prefer not to be contacted or involved at all? I realize it may take a little extra effort, but if somebody contacts you, but you don't have to host it yourself, is what I'm trying to say. So yes, John, you're muted.
Well, I'm on South Shore, and I don't know that it's possible for anybody on South Shore to have a night out activity on South Shore.
Right. What about the area 1? Your area also has residents on the opposite, in the smaller streets across the street from you. If somebody there were to step up, would you be interested in being the contact for them?
If that were the case, I would, yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah, I understand what you're saying. Most of area 1 is along South Shore, and that just doesn't make sense.
yeah,
But we could also encourage them to join other close by groups, like our area 3, has. So that's just an example. And I would say that to everybody else here. You can also encourage people, or we can through an email blast, to join one of the other national nights out. And the reason I think this is important, and then I'll turn it over back to Chris, is that not only does it bring our community back, together, and people getting to know each other a little bit more who don't normally talk to each other, but also that connectiveness is really going to be important in times of emergency, in terms of working together. Back to you, Chris.
Right.
Well, unless somebody has a question. Is there anybody who has a question? Okay.
These parties are an absolute blast. You can get the fire department to bring a fire engine by. You can get the city, the police to stop by, and the kids love that. So they're really fun. And I think, as Frederic said, I think they're also a good opportunity to increase our subscriptions. People see what's going on, they hear about PNA, and they want to get involved to hear more about what's going on. So thank you. Frederic, can you draft that letter that would go out and send me a copy? Then we'll get that right out. Timing is perfect.
And also one last thing, you don't have to close off your whole street.
Right.
So I can give you more information about that, because it's not so easy to get. You have to have 100% of the residents to agree, and that's a huge hassle in most cases. So contact me if you have any questions on how to do that, and what the city allows, because we did it last year and it worked out great.
Great. Thank you. Nancy, Parks and Rec, Parks Committee report?
Right. So there's an issue that we're working currently. So I'll mention that first. 2 years ago, when they were planning the new LORAC Center, there were neighborhood meetings. There was one held at LORAC, so everyone could ask questions about the plans. And the people who live in Sunny Hills neighborhood, which is near Stafford and Green Tree, they showed up to say, hey, we're the houses behind the driving range of the old course, the current course back 2 years ago, and we get stray balls. Please fix this when you redesign the course so that we don't get stray balls. And the architects were there, the actual golf course architects were there, and there was a discussion about it, and they said, we gotcha. Nothing specific, but we gotcha. Now roll forward 2 years, everything opens up, and guess what? Their ball problem is larger than before. They're getting balls from the driving range. They're also getting balls from hole number 1, and it's a safety issue. It's been whizzing by people's heads in their backyards. One gentleman makes his son wear a helmet to mow the lawn, which is funny sounding, but it's a safety issue. So PNA has been involved with the city, the Parks and Rec staff, to help find a solution here. There was a meeting in second week of May. Chris attended that. Chris and I both did some research on where the balls are ending up, and there's a bunch of them at the golf course. I'm sorry, at the 2 cemeteries, and also in the neighborhood, even in the street, not just the backyards, but going all the way over the houses. So long story short, they agreed to shut down the course until they could find solve the problem. They're going to low velocity balls. I have actually a visual for this, so hang on. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
So they're going to use limited flight balls. They've inspected the range looking for tears in the netting. There's also gaps sometimes in the netting between the back net and the side nets. So they've realigned 3 bays that are close to the cemetery. These are all things they're doing to try to solve the problem. No drivers are used, no use of woods. Range attendant will be present to ensure that guests at the golf course are acting appropriately according to the rules. And if there's an issue, the neighbors are instructed to use a calling tree. So there's a list of cell phone numbers for people at the golf course and also on Parks and Rec, including Ivan, the head of Parks and Rec, and they're supposed to call if they see more balls. Well, they reopened the course on June 6th. And Chris, I don't know if you've heard from them. I have not, that there's any new problems. So I'll stop sharing now.
I have not heard of any new problems.
So we're hoping that all these measures have made for the improvements that are needed, so these poor neighbors aren't living in fear of being in their backyard. So any questions about that before I move on?
Can you follow up with
Steven?
Connolly? Yeah, to see if there have
Yeah.
been any balls. And then
Sure.
can you send me that letter, that memo, and I'll include it in the meeting minutes.
So
Okay.
Nancy, question for you. I noticed when they were clearing out the golf course, they took all the trees down on that side. Would there be any way that they can actually, start doing a huge either hedge or some way so they can have blockage of those balls?
It wouldn't make a difference. The nets are 75 feet high. You would need a new tree to grow past 75 feet
Well,
to solve the problem.
and then also, have they ever thought about covering, putting nets on top of the range?
I don't know that.
It's
I
kind
don't
of like
think so.
if you go to looking at the top golf, it's kind of like it's huge and they have nets on the top.
Good point. Well, we'll keep that in mind if this current solution fails. So far, with the mitigation efforts, it's been quiet. I'll double check with the neighbors to see if things are quiet and there's no balls flying past their head. But that's an idea I can share with them. So,
Great. Great.
yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for staying on top of that.
Yeah, other than that, I really don't have many other updates. We know Rosique Park is underway, phase 2, which is our playground. I showed pictures a month ago of the progress there. It's continuing to be constructed. I don't have new pictures today, but feel free to walk through the park and see where they're at with it. We're excited
Yeah.
about it. And Lusher Farm, a month ago, they had just submitted the planning documents needed to the county to formalize the uses at Lusher Farm that are occurring today. So more news when I have news on that. It's a long process, so it might be a while for Lusher. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Traffic and pathways, Rob is not here, but I can say that the city started the tree removal permit process for trees along Treetop and Meadowlark to get ready for the sidewalk that's going to go in on the west side of Treetop and of Meadowlark. And also in the future, the city is planning on a sidewalk on Fernwood from South Shore up to at least to Treetop, maybe all the way to the end of Fernwood. So, but that's not on the funded list yet. So that's exciting. That'll be good to see that go in for safety.
Yeah. I think it was on the list and then they took it off in favor of one close to a school.
Okay. Jenny, I don't have you on the agenda. I'm very sorry, but did you want to give a school report?
Yes, I just want to share the new bond is coming up, and we had our kickoff meeting to help people understand the key messages of the bond and how important it is. As you know, we've had a lot of, cutbacks to our schools, and bonds don't pay for teachers, they do pay for buildings, and that is still very important so that we can have really safe schools. Right now, a lot of our schools are very old and are not earthquake resilient. So this final bond, it won't raise taxes. It's just the next phase of the bond process. It's a 3-part bond. We'll make sure all our schools are earthquake resilient. And this is helpful for everybody in the community because in the event of a natural, disaster, the school will be a place where people can go if their homes are no longer livable. So that's going to be very important. And it's also going to make sure all elementary schools have cafeterias, which they don't have right now. Kids eat in their classroom, and it's really important that we separate the classrooms from the eating because it also helps save on the time that we use to pay for teachers when they go on their break. That means a special ed teacher has to come in, it's called an education assistant, and watch the kids. But if you can get all the kids into one room to eat lunch, it cuts down on using that time. So those teachers can help kids with academics versus watching them eat lunch. So there's a lot of little benefits and different things. So we're working on trying to help communicate the benefit of this bond so people vote for it, because the last bond that passed, it was really close. So we really need this final bond to pass, and it helps all the schools from elementary, middle to high school. So as we get more information, I'll share it out with everyone. And I'm sorry I'm late. I'm in Eugene celebrating Father's Day for my dad, and we were delayed on dinner because somebody in my family locked themselves in the bathroom and we couldn't get them out. So we had a little emergency. So I texted you, Chris, and
Oh, sorry.
no, it's okay, but I apologize. So
No problem.
I don't know. We're breaking everything in my parents' house, but we're here. So
Glad you could join us. Thank you.
thank you.
That bond is in November, right?
Yes.
November this year. And I think a really important point is that the previous bonds are expiring. So this really replaces those bonds. So when you say the taxes won't go up, that's why.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll figure out a better way to say that. I mean, everyone's like, your taxes won't go up. It's just for those people who have not lived in the community or seen it, this bond, it was a 3-phase bond so that it would go over a time period to make sure everything was completed. So
Right.
we'll finesse it,
Okay.
make sure. So thank you.
Yeah. So Meg, land use.
Okay, so the big thing is at the Stafford project, I think now it's called, I think its formal name was Hazalia, is the application is complete, and so we should probably be seeing some more communications from planning as far as the approval process. But I do have something to share. So here is the preliminary, this is the final breakdown on the thing. So you can see they're coming in from Stafford. They're going to combine with, and the very bottom, if you can see that, they're going to get rid of that easeway along here, and the Parks and Rec will use their parkway to get into Rasique for maintenance. And then that way they'll be able to have a berm here and then have the water treatment right there, or stormwater retrieval. And then I have some of the preliminary architecture. So these are, here's the cottages. Hazalia Living is what it's called. Cottage 1, second floor plan, first floor plan. It's kind of cool to see everything come together. And these are the exteriors of the cottages. And I figure they're about at 52 units. And then we have cottages. And then if anybody would like me to send them to you, just let me know. And then here's a fourplex. They have the units there.
Is this considered affordable living?
I don't know what the price they're not marketing it as affordable because they're not going to be at that price point, and they're not going to be income restricted. So I think the term he uses more is attainable. And then these are the town units.
Attainable.
And so once I hear more about, I'm sure they're going to have public meetings on the project. And once I hear more, I will let you all know.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Meg. And if anyone has questions on those or comments, please get them to Meg. Meg attends the pre-app meetings and any kind of planning meetings with Ken. We also have a direct line of communication with Ken, so we can pass on concerns and questions at any time. So get those to Meg, and we'll get a response. And Rick, you have a question?
No, just real quick. I put something in the chat for you that Ken had sent to us that we used at the Stafford Hamlet meeting on Tuesday, that they are going to demolish the church starting this summer. It's gonna be
Right.
going down. So I wasn't sure if that was on your sheet. I just plugged it in there. So, and
Right.
it's the timetable.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. We're talking to Ken about using the building before it gets demolished as a firefighter training site where the firefighters can go in and run hoses and evacuate, victims and all that. Use it for training, which is good. Hopefully, we can make that work before he takes it down.
Do you know what they're doing with the playground equipment that's still there?
I'm sorry,
Do you know what he's doing with the playground equipment that's still there?
I don't. That's a good
Okay.
question. That's a good question. Meg,
Probably owned by the preschool.
yeah, right. The preschool is moving down to the church on Stafford, just south of the 205, on the right-hand side of the road, on the west side of Stafford. So you're right, they may be taking it.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? I'll send Ken a note and ask him and see.
Well, I'm glad it's attainable because I know that we're losing a lot of students in Lake Oswego because a lot of homes that are being built are not homes that many families can afford. So we don't have a lot of new families moving into the neighborhood that are going to the schools. So our numbers are going down. So, families who are just starting out or young students can't afford a lot of the homes that we have here. So that's impacting our school district greatly too, as we lose families who are moving out or can't move in.
Right, right. Okay. Thank you, Meg. Public comment. We have Rick and Randy. Either of you want to offer any thoughts or comments? Randy, you were involved with Adams on the cell tower, before we got involved here. Is there anything you can think of that we need to be doing or could do?
Well, I think you've taken the exact correct approach. You have to know what their situation is, what the processes are, and the planning and zoning. The high school, they could have they don't do that. They do it after the planning and zoning and permitting is complete. And so I think, I think that we would like to support them in their efforts. And we need to have that information, the conditional use, whether or not they actually have it, whether they're going to have to go through it. We need to have the process of public notification, appeals, the whole that process is critical to being able to provide any help other than just emotional support for them. So
Yeah.
and I like to see a different area, different neighborhood association, different CPO meetings, because it's helpful in comparing what you folks are doing to what other CPOs and what we're doing. And it's really interesting to see how organized your neighborhood association is compared to pretty much everyone else. So yeah, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Rick?
Yeah, just so you know, for those you don't know what a CPO is, it's our community planning organization, which is basically what you guys are to the county. So we start throwing acronyms around with what the heck's a CPO? So I wanted to mention that. And then, has anybody in the neighborhood had issues at the skate park? I was talking with one local person, and they said that their kid got knocked over, and there was drug use, alcohol going on, and inappropriate music being played, and the police came and they didn't do much. And I'm just curious if I know they were talking about they do a great job of policing themselves, but I'm just kind of curious if it's becoming an issue to anybody else or if that was just a one-time deal.
I go with my kids, and it just depends on the hour and who's there. They hear a lot of swearing or they hear nothing at all. They have a lot of fun or they have to watch out so they don't get hit. So I think it just depends, on the crowd and who's there. It's a public park, so you just have to go with it.
Well, somebody said that he took his young son into the bathroom and was afraid his son was going to come out stoned because they had been in there smoking.
Nancy, have you heard of any of this? Okay.
No, this is news to me. We'll keep our ear to the ground, and I can ask Kira about it maybe.
Rick, if these people, have them take pictures or something, have them.
Well,
and then we'll
there should be a police report because the police showed up because this person almost got into a fight with a young man that was basically
Wow.
using bad language with all the kids and said, "Hey, can you turn the music down?" and this and that. So I just wondered if it was an isolated issue or if it's happening more and more.
Well, I think it's really good that you let us know so that we can keep an eye on that.
Yeah. Well, I have some concerns being right across the street from it. So
Yeah, well, in Rosique Playground, right next to the skate park. That's important.
Yep.
Thank you.
I think you have to accept, though, with a skate park, what is the culture? What is the environment? So this
That
is
doesn't mean we
not
have
a
to put up with
preschool
it.
playground. This is a skate park, and who is it attracting and who is it bringing? So if there's clear rules on how to behave and what you need to do. But if you need to have community policing or more people involved because it's attracting a crowd that is, over 16 and pushing their limits, then I think we're going to expect that. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's no surprise what you're seeing at a skate park. You're not seeing that across the street at Lesher Farm at the little playground by the bathrooms.
Okay. Any other public comment? There are two things that I should have mentioned in the chair's report. One is yard signs. Carrie and I have talked a lot about how to manage the yard signs and the changing of the little stick-on plaques for information. And we're going to try a new approach. I'm going to inherit the yard signs. So if you have skins to announce the disaster preparedness class coming up in July, if you could put it on your yard sign or call me, I'll come get it from your house and put it on your yard sign. In the future, what we will try is that we'll get them laminated by the printer, and then I'll just hop in the car. Kit will take me around. We'll have the route, and we'll peel off the old one, put on the new one, and it'll be done. And there won't be any more need to call and bug board members about updating their yard sign. So I think that might be the easiest solution. We'll try that. And then the second thing is we have a need for call it a social media coordinator, but it's really Nextdoor. It's really getting stuff posted on Nextdoor, either articles or links to the newsletter, links to the website, what's happening in Palisades. Emergency prep is certainly a great topic. When the low rack pools are open, that could go on as a blurb. At any rate, somebody that is familiar with the process of posting on Nextdoor. So if anyone would like to come forward, let me know, and we'll talk about getting that going. Carrie knows a lot more about that than I do, so maybe we'll get her in that loop as well. Yes, Frederic.
David, you said that your wife might be interested in helping at one time. Is that something she might be interested in doing?
I can certainly run it by her. She's much more social media savvy than me. I tend to stay off of social media.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay if she's not interested, but it really, I've been doing it for the last many years. And you don't have to come up with content. It's just almost literal. It's like 5 minutes a week. That's it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can ask Marina. I'll be happy to.
And these coordinator positions are not necessarily board positions. I was the land use coordinator for a couple of years, and I was not on the board. So that's not a prerequisite. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. Anybody have any other items? Well, thank you, everyone. Welcome, Bryce.
Welcome.
Very good to
Thanks,
have you
Tom.
on board. And
Thanks, everyone.
if anyone has friends in area 6 and 13, let me know, and I'll see if I can set up a coffee meeting and chat about joining the board. Also, in August, National Night Out, Area 6, I guess they have their own kind of organization and on Green Tree Circle, and they have a great party planned every year. It'd be great if somebody who is not going to a neighborhood in their neighborhood could go to that meeting and spread the word that we need an Area 6 representative on the board. We can talk about that next month too. There'll be time. Okay, that's it. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.